My name is Okay Machisa, and for me, joining Zimbabwe Human Rights Association, it was on the basis that I was coming from one of the most powerful organizations called Crisis in Zimbabwe Coalition, which used to link me with quite a number of organizations. And when an opening was there in 2008, that's when I had to apply, and then I was appointed to be the National Director in 2008 in October. So I've been working for that organization for basically almost 4 years now, 5 years now, and I hope to not to take more than 10 years at the organization. I would have trained myself up to 10 years, but I would have loved to maybe reach about 6-7 years there, and then I find something new to do. But it is a passion that I have to work for an organization like that, and I hope I'll maintain the passion that I have, because what is happening in Zimbabwe is a bit depressing, but at the same time quite exciting, because that's where my passion is, especially in human rights. Zimbabwe Human Rights Association is an organization that was founded in 1992 and registered under our legal framework of Private Voluntary Act in 1993. The mandate of the organization is to promote, protect, and defend human rights within Zimbabwe. And we do that through sectoral departments like the legal department, the information department, the education department, networking, research, and advocacy department. All these departments feed into civic education that we then take out to the communities. Our mandate is driven actually by the needs of the people in the communities. So we create our programs around what the people of Zimbabwe will be seeking the organization to do. And also we also derive the mandate of doing civic education and giving awareness to the people from the call of the nation. What is the nation dictating at that moment? If it is dictating that there is a new constitution which need to be written, so we do civic education around that. If there are elections that are supposed to be done, we do civic education about elections. If there is some other programs that we think will be necessary at that time, like for example, if there is cholera, an outbreak of a certain disease, we have to carry out a strong awareness campaign around that. So the dictates of our programs are defined by the way the country is heading towards its process or the needs of the people within the country. So at the moment, we are busy trying to look at what is it that can make Zimbabwe reach a free and fair election. Are the people of Zimbabwe ready to get into the election? Are they registered? How do they register if they have to register as potential voters? What are the documents that are needed? Where are they going to vote? Like, the voter education is needed for the people to go out there and exercise their democratic right. Not only that, we also are doing quite a number of programs around peace in the communities. If we are heading towards an election, there is need for peace, people to behave in a manner that is quite moral and that is prescribed within the laws of the country. And therefore, our programming would need also to bring in issues of peace building. Whenever we are going towards an election, we need to respect our differences. We need to tolerate one another, so that everybody outside there would envy our country. So those are some of the programs that we are doing as an organization. The work that we do would always attract a lot of disharmony within the government of Zimbabwe, because we work towards making people aware of their rights, and when they start to demand their rights, this is when we have challenges with the government. Recently, we faced quite a number of attacks as an organization, on the 13th of December last year, one of our officers was arrested together with another woman who works for the organization, but as an ordinary member, where allegations were that we were manufacturing fake voter registration slips and we were publishing falsehood statement to the country, which was prejudicial to the state, and also that we were doing this to discredit the electoral process of Zimbabwe. And after that, if a political party which is not of our choice loses, we would call upon United Nations to vote for no-fly zone in Zimbabwe. All those allegations were pinned on us. And on the 14th of January this year, I was arrested because they thought I am the leader of the organization and therefore I have to be charged separately as an individual. And these attacks are mainly to derail the work that we are doing as an organization. They are mainly to criminalize the work that we are doing, and also for people to discredit any work that we put there to the communities, that we put there to the international community, that we even put there in the regional community. So when an organization and its individuals are criminalized, therefore, the work that you will be doing will also be affected. So these are some of the tactics which the regime is using to make sure that the civil society organizations like us are not really doing the work that should be done, especially when we are going to an election. An election is very important in Zimbabwe, as you have realized all the time. When we are going towards an election, that's when we have politically motivated violence. We have quite a number of cases that are reported where people have been killed, where people have been maimed, where people have been raped, where property has been destroyed. And this is the time when we think it's ripe for strong awareness to the people that we do not need such politically motivated violence in the communities. Because whenever we have that, we will have a discredited an election. So the organization came under attack because it is one of the biggest human rights membership organization in Zimbabwe with more than 300,000 people. And imagine in 1,958 political wards in Zimbabwe, Zimrights is present. It behaves like a political party, so it is an intact organization, which if it is attacked, it means that there is a dent in the communities. The communities are not able to get the information that they would want from a big organization like us. So strategically, the regime targets an organization like us because we are present almost in every corner of the country. In organizations in our country that are pro-democratic and that have been calling for democracy and respect for human rights in Zimbabwe come under attack each and every time. And ways of protecting such organizations normally need to come from within the country when the people that reside in the country fight for the protection of these organizations. But most importantly, we also call upon the international community to realize that countries like Zimbabwe are quite fragile and they have got regimes that are very disturbing, especially when it comes to respect the operations of these organizations. So in my view, I would call upon the international community, the donor community, to realize that human rights activists in a country like Zimbabwe are at a very precarious position as of now. These are the people that can be arrested at any time. These are the people that can be killed at any time, and these are the people that can disappear at any time. These are the same people that would want a refuge at any time. So there are safety mechanisms that we think the international community can put in place in case you have got quite a number of human rights defenders that would want to seek refuge in the nearest country or within the country where we can actually create safety nets like safe houses, etc., etc. And we also think it is the time for the international community to talk with a very loud voice that Zimbabwe would need to be assisted for it to have credible elections, because without Zimbabwe being assisted, it will eat its own children. I would want to define the attacks in three main areas. The levels are that the regime uses the low-cost strategies, the medium-cost strategies, and the high-cost strategies. When I'm saying the low-cost strategies, these are the strategies where if we have got an issue as organizations, the government tends to ignore, as if there is no matter at all. They tend to behave as if there is what I can call agenda denial. Where we are saying there is violence, the government can actually say there is no violence. I think you would discover with me that, agree with me that when you are doing policy formulation, people who have defined policy making, they say it's what the government decides to do or not decide to do. So where we are saying there is violence, the government can say they can decide not to talk about it, and they're actually ignoring. So that really is one of the areas that we've seen is happening in Zimbabwe, but not really very high. The medium cost is where you have your attacks, verbal attacks, using maybe the media, using television, using strategic people that can actually castigate the human rights activist. The attacks that we are seeing that are very dangerous are actually the high-cost strategies. These high-cost strategies are imprisonment, arrests, killing, arson. These have been seen. We have seen this taking place since 2000, when the opposition MDC was actually was formulated. I think it's around 1999 or 2000, where if the regime realizes that they have faced a group of people or civics that have got strategies that tend to discredit them, they arrest. Arbitrary arrest, they imprison, they go to an extent of beating, they go to an extent of even killing. You realize in 2008 post-March election, there was quite a lot of killings that took place. That is what we call high-cost strategy of trying to make sure that the human rights activists or human rights defenders are not handled from doing any progress whatsoever. So these are the things that the strategies that the regime is actually using. As of now, when we are going to this election in 2013, we have seen quite clear high-cost strategies where they're using strategies of intimidation, of arrests, and imprisonment. And we anticipate that the extent of making people disappear, the extent of abduction, the extent of killing are actually possible when we are going towards this election. But also that there is some other tactics that are being used where people are being denied their right to go to register to vote, where people are being denied access to even inspect their voters' roll. So these are some of the things that are, I think, the strategies that they are using. Good thing with Zimbabwe Human Rights Association is that it is an organization that is membership-based. We do not own the programs or activities in the communities as secretariat. We give programs to the members in the communities. So you'll find that when we are doing national healing or peace building, we request our members to do that within their communities. So at the end of the day, whether we are banned as secretariat, peace building is taking place in the communities. Whether we are banned from motivating people or mobilizing people to go and register to vote, our members are actually carrying out that program within the communities. As long as we have given information to the people and we have given them enough information how to do it, our members are always on the ground to do or to carry out activities or programs. What I think we also do at our most best level is that the same members that I'm talking about are the ones that give us feedback without even coming to our offices. We have got technology which is all over in the world. They can send SMS, they can alert us of challenges that are there. And it is important to note that even if you have got a very autocratic regime that is not allowing civics to work in the communities, if you are a mass-based organization, you will always have presence in the communities.